Welcome back to the third session of the MGD 211 lecture, chapter 17, dear students. So, in this discussion, we are going to continue our topic that we were discussing in the previous recording. We were talking about the trait theory of the leadership, and on that discussion, we have discovered that researchers of management have identified 7 different traits among the leaders, which are common but not empirical in the I mean, in the within the leaders of the different parts of the world. So much without further ado, we are going to talk about that, and then we are going to move into the progression that has been made in the researches regarding find out that what makes a leader a great leader. So much without further ado, let's look into the 7 characteristics. First one that the researchers have identified is the drive. So it has been revealed that quite a lot of number of leaders that has been observed around the world, they had exhibit a higher level of effort level. They have shown a tremendous amount of desire for achievement, and they were found to be ambitious and have a lot of energy. So as I was saying earlier in one of the previous recording, that the leaders who were seen around the world, they were found to be a storyteller who actually share their vision, their dream to the people. So if you want to become that sort of person, you need to show everyone how ambitious you are, how much energy you have, and you should be persistent about achieving these goals. Because if you are talking about your dream but you are not showing any kind of drive or determination to accomplish those goals, people will lose interest to you. So that is important. Second one, desire to lead. So it has been found that quite a lot of number of leaders had the strong desire to lead others. They were willing to take responsibility where nobody else was willing to move forward and take the initiative. It has been seen that quite a lot of number of leaders showed that sort of behavior and enthusiasm to take charge of the situation. However, this is something that is subject to dispute, subject to debate, because in the history of management, there has been quite a lot of number of leaders who were not interested to take the charge in the first place. However, fortunately, once they took the responsibility, they have outshined the others. The third important factor is the honesty and integrity. It has been found that the successful leaders had uh, they had shared these characteristics where they with this they were able to create trusting relationship between themselves and the followers by being truthful and non-deceitful. There is some trust is beautiful, and if you can show people that you are a trustworthy person, then it becomes easier to attain the loyalty. However, like the previous point, this is also subject to debate, because historically many successful leader has been found who never quite shared these characteristics, even though they might have been found to be honest and integrate and were found to show integrity. But in several cases it has been reported they took the means of deceit. So again, this is subject to debate. However, it is highly appreciated if a leader has these characteristics. Fourth point is the self-confidence. So this is something very important for you to keep in mind. Yes, a person can be knowledgeable. However, that person's language can oftentimes be incomprehensible because of the technical jargons and whatnot. However, one thing among his presentation always outshines everything, that is whether that person is confident or not. So no matter how knowledgeable you are, it always shows when you're talking whether you're confident or not. If you're not confident, then people will not take your words for granted. They will not believe you if you have self-doubt about yourself. And they will think that, okay, maybe his words are making sense, but he is doubtful about what he's saying. So why should I go with someone who is uncertain about the future? So leaders therefore need to show self-confidence. Yes, future is uncertain, but if you can show that confidence that, okay, if we can proceed this way, then we have a high probability of achieving these goals. If you can convey that sort of message, then people will be more on board on your vision, on your ideas. Fifth point is intelligence. Leaders need to be intelligent enough to gather, synthesize, and interpret large amounts of information. Yes, it is important. However, historically, it has been found quite a lot of leaders who were not that much intelligent, who didn't have that sort of knowledge, or which is our sixth point, job relevant knowledge or intelligence. So it is something nice to have, but historically many leaders have been found who didn't share these traits. So again, this is subject to debate. However, if you want to become a perfect leader, you must also need to focus on the first 4 points, and the remaining fifth and second point that we have talked about, that you must have knowledge, you must have intelligence about what you are doing, how you process the information. If you can show this sort of trait, people will be more confident about to be under your guidance and supervision. Lastly, extraversion. Leaders should be energetic and lively people. They should be sociable, assertive, and rarely silent or withdrawn. Again, this 7 point is also a subject to a debate, because if you look into the history of management, you will find quite a lot of people who didn't share these characteristics, that where they were extrovert, always communicative about their goals and vision. Historically, many leaders have been found who were not so communicative, who were introvert. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is not that kind of person who can communicate that frequently, but he was knowledgeable and qualified to create an empire called Facebook. So again, 5, 6, and 7, number 3, these points are nice to have. So if you can share this as a leader, fantastic. However, don't be disheartened, as there has been some leaders have been found who didn't share these characteristics. So as we were talking in the trait theory, even though some characteristics were discovered that were present within the leaders, however, it has been seen that it was not a surefire way to say that, okay, if these people have the characteristics, then they can be called a leader. So after being not entirely successful on that way of research, several management researchers focused on the behaviors that the leaders shared, and they wanted to find out whether the leaders shared these sort of behaviors that were common within them. So in this area, several institutes have done their researches and got some success in categorizing the leaders. So for instance, University of Iowa, uh, Iowa had conducted a study which was led by Kurt Lewin. So on that research, it has been identified that leaders shared 3 distinguished leadership styles. So what are these 3 leadership styles? First one is autocratic style, where the leader attained the centralized authority and allowed minimal amount of participation from the followers. They were like, okay, this is my vision, this is what I'm saying, and this is what you will have to do. There is nothing else I'm going to take, and I will take nothing else for granted, and you will have to follow my guideline and my supervision. So that's the autocratic style. Second one is the democratic style, which is quite opposite of autocratic. Their leaders, even though they shared a vision, however, they were flexible and they were allowing involvement of their followers. They were allowing the followers to say, by saying that, okay, this is what the vision I have. So how can we achieve them? Give your feedback so that I can customize my visions, my ideas. So he or she will be taking this sort of feedback, and so which is called democratic style. Lastly, laissez-faire style. So here the leader is saying, okay, this is my goal, off you go, now you decide how you're going to achieve them. He or she simply communicates his or her idea, vision, dream, then motivating the people and saying that, okay, now you decide how you're going to accomplish that. I won't be involved at all. I am letting you go. You have the full freedom. So now the question comes, now that we have seen 3 different leadership styles, which one is the best one? You might ask. The answer was, the result was mixed. For some instances, it was seen that autocratic style was the best one. In some cases, it was seen the democratic style was best one. Democratic style was very best one, where the followers were very highly qualified, highly educated. They knew about their work, and they were wanted to show show their expertise and characteristics. On those cases, maybe democratic style and express style was much more appropriate. However, if the followers were illiterate and had little or no education, on those cases, autocratic style was found to be better option. So this point is actually perpetuating just what I have said right now. However, in a general sense, it was found that people were more satisfied under a democratic leader, because the democratic leader was taking their opinion, taking their idea, and giving them the flexibility to share their idea. And this is exactly what is being seen by big companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, where the employees are hired, uh, where highly qualified employees are hired, and they're given the freedom to share their ideas and being helped to accomplish their dreams and their goals that is congruent with the organization's vision and goal. For instance, in Google, it has been reported that employees are told to work 4 days a week for their assigned activities by Google, and they're asked just to work 1 day on their pet projects, where they are on projects that they're passionate about. And in those projects, if Google sees that they are related with Google's dream, Google's vision, Google even funds them to take those projects ahead and accomplish them. So for these reasons, job satisfaction in Google, it has been reported, is extremely high. However, in the case of autocratic leader, it has been reported there were higher degree of dissatisfaction, and you can see that even in the case of Middle East, where tyrant leaders were running the country, and in those cases, even though they were doing pretty good job in countries like Libya or Iraq, it has been reported that subjects or the popular country people were not that much satisfied with their leaders because their opinion were not taken. So again, this is something that is quite debatable, but one thing is certain: the democratic leader, if there is opportunity to implement this policy and practice, is much more better option. So another theory, which will be the last one I'll be talking about in this recording, is has been developed by Ohio State University. On their studies, it has been identified there are two dimensions of leader behavior. The first dimension is the initiating structure. So if I put it in a more simple manner, here the leader is defining his or her role and the roles of group members. They are like simply task focus. They're focusing on what is the task, and they're always thinking how we can achieve them. And they're always strictly monitoring that what sort of task has been given to the people of the department, and they're always conveyed that okay, how far are the followers or subjects are going with that task. The second one is the type of leader that's solely focusing on considerations. They're like people's champion. They're like always working for the betterment of the life of their followers. They are always trying to earn the followers' trust and respect. They're always considering their ideas and feelings. They're always considerate. They're thinking about their followers' problems, their issues, and they're trying to accommodate these followers so that they can actually remain satisfied under his guidance and supervision. So again, question might come, which one is the best option? So again, the answer was mixed. In some cases, it has been reported that task-focused leaders were better suitable, better option. In some cases, it has been reported that the leaders who were considerate, who were more focused on their followers' well-being, found to be a better option. Here's another point that you should keep in consideration. Even you might think that what if a leader is scoring high in the both cases? If he or she is found to be highly involved in initiating structure and highly involved in focusing on his or her followers' well-being, we should consider that person as a good leader, right? Answer was, in generally, they were very good, found to be a very good leader, but not always. Again, there has been some exceptional case where it has been reported that high leaders were not a good option. So some situations occurred where even though leaders scored high in both cases, were not found to be highly effective, because it has been reported that leaders who scored high in initiating structure were found to be um, you know highly effective in accomplishing his or her task goals. However, followers under these leaders were found to be um, highly dissatisfied with the job because their flexibility were not accepted. On the other hand, leaders who were highly considerate were found to be uh, leaders whose subjects were very happy to work under that person. However, those leaders were not that much effective. It was reported they failed to meet the task deadlines. So in terms of effective, these leaders were not that much effective. So long story short, it has long story short, it is still it is dependent on that what sort of leader you should be on the situation of your organization. It is if you become highly effective in initiating structure, that can be a good thing or bad thing for the organization you're working on. If you are highly considerate, again that can be a good thing, but again it can be based on situation. If you are high in both, most cases it is favorable, but in some cases, some extreme cases, it has been reported that these leaders were not so much suitable either. So which one will you be? Again, for observe the corporation situation where you're in. If you do your homework first on the organization politics, organization culture, then you decide which one should you become. That being said, I'm going to conclude my discussion on till this slide. From the next session, I'll be starting from this particular portion. That being said, thank you so much for patiently listening, and I'll be continuing my discussion on the next recording.